Three old buddies from Minnesota pass away and find themselves in the afterlife's warmer destination. The devil, who takes pride in running a tight ship, likes to personally inspect the new arrivals to make sure everything is suitably miserable. So he strolls down to their room and pauses outside to listen. "You know," one of the fellows says, "this isn't nearly as bad as I expected." "No kidding," says another. "Sure, it's hot, but it's a dry heat." "Exactly," the third adds. "No humidity. This beats July back home." The devil raises an eyebrow, walks in, and cranks the thermostat from toasty to volcanic. "Let's see how you enjoy that," he mutters, slamming the door. The next day, he returns, expecting to hear wailing. Instead, the three men are grinning ear to ear. "This is wonderful," one says. "All the mosquitoes are gone," says another. "And my arthritis hasn't felt this good in years," adds the third. Now the devil is irritated. "Fine," he growls. "If heat won't do it, let's try cold." He spins the dial down to 50 below zero and leaves them shivering in what should be misery. At 2 in the morning, one of his assistants calls it a panic. "Sir, the three men are celebrating." "Celebrating?" the devil roars. He storms back down the hall and bursts into the room. The three Minnesotans are cheering, hugging, and high-fiving like they just won the lottery. "What is wrong with you?" the devil shouts. "You're frozen solid. This is supposed to be punishment." One of the men beams and says, "Don't you see? Hell froze over, which can only mean one thing. The Vikings finally won the Super Bowl."
The security protocol. New password. Potato. System. Sorry, password must be at least 8 characters. New password. Boiled potato. System. Sorry, password must contain at least 1 number. New password. 1 boiled potato. System. Sorry, password cannot contain spaces. New password. 50 f***ing boiled potatoes. System. Sorry, password must contain at least 1 capital letter. New password. 50 f***ing boiled potatoes. System. Sorry, capital letters cannot be consecutive. New password. I will shove 50 f***ing boiled potatoes up your ass if you do not give me access immediately. System. Sorry, password cannot contain punctuation marks. New password. Now I am seriously getting pissed off. I will shove 50 F boiled potatoes up your ass if you do not give me access immediately. System. Sorry, you cannot reuse a previous password. Please choose a new password.
A man and a woman lay asleep, resembling 2 innocent babies lost in slumber. Suddenly, at 3 a.m., a jarring noise shattered the stillness from outside. Bewilderment gripped the woman as she sprang up from the bed, her heart racing. She cast an accusatory glance at the man and exclaimed, "Oh no, that must be my husband!" Without a moment to spare, the man leaped out of bed, a surge of fear coursing through him. Clad in nothing but vulnerability, he hurled himself out of the window with an almost crazed urgency. He collided with the unforgiving ground, crashing through a thorn bush, each thorn a stinging reminder of his frantic escape. Yet, undeterred, he rose to his feet, propelled by a surge of adrenaline, and dashed with urgency toward his parked car. Just minutes later, he returned, his voice sharp with accusation. "I'm your husband, you—" Before he could finish, the woman shot back defiantly. "Yeah? Then why were you running? You—" One quiet evening, a wife looked over at her husband and asked a question every man dreads. "Honey, if I were to pass away, would you ever get married again?" The husband took a deep breath, trying to be both honest and sensitive. "Well, in time, I suppose I might. Life is long, and I think we all eventually look for companionship to heal." The wife nodded slowly, her eyes narrowing slightly. "I see. And if you did remarry, would she live here, in our house?" "Well," he said, looking around the living room, We spent years making this place perfect. It would make sense to sell it and move. So yes, I imagine she would. And, she continued, would she sleep in our bed? The husband hesitated, but stayed logical. It's a brand new $2,000 mattress, honey. It's built to last 10 years. It would be a waste to throw it out. So yes, she'd probably sleep in the bed. A mischievous glint appeared in her eye as she leaned in for the final question. And if she lived here and slept in our bed, would she use my favorite set of golf clubs? The husband didn't even blink. Oh, definitely not, he said dismissively. She's a lefty. It was late, and the bartender was just about to lock the front door when a man in a ski mask burst in, waving a pistol. "This is a heist!" the guy screamed. "Empty the register into this bag, now!" The bartender went pale, his hand shaking as he reached for the drawer. "Please, just take it. Don't shoot. I've got a wife and 3 kids at home. I'll do whatever you want. Just keep that thing pointed away from me." The robber grabbed the cash, but he didn't leave. Instead, he pressed the barrel of the gun against the bartender's temple and barked a humiliating demand. Terrified and desperate to stay alive, the bartender cried, "Fine, anything, just please don't pull the trigger." The bartender started to comply, but as the robber got distracted by the moment, he accidentally fumbled the gun and it clattered to the floor. The bartender lunged for it, grabbed the weapon, and stood up. But instead of turning the tables, he shoved the gun back into the robber's hand and hissed, "Hold the gun, for heaven's sake! What if one of my regulars walks in and sees this?"
A woman was standing in front of the window in the maternity wing, looking at her newborn baby, when another new mom walked up beside her. She pointed at a baby and said, "Is that your baby boy there?" The first woman replied, "Why, yes, it is." The second woman then pointed at a baby boy beside it and said, "That's my 3rd child. We named him Beauregard Winston Baldwin III, after his great-great-great-grandfather, the famous Confederate general." "That's nice," said the first woman. The woman kept talking. "My husband is buying me a 4-carat diamond ring to celebrate his birth." "That's nice," said the first woman again. "When my 2nd child was born, he gave me a brand new Mercedes-Benz and took me to Tuscany for the summer," she bragged again. "That's nice," repeated the woman. "And when I birthed our 1st child, my husband bought a yacht, named it after me, and we sailed round the world," she continued. "That's nice," said the first woman again. "Is this your 1st child? What did your husband buy you?" asked the second woman. The first woman turned to her and said, "When we found out I was pregnant, my husband sent me to charm school." "Charm school?" the second woman asked incredulously. "Why?" "Yes, well," the woman said, "that's where I learned to say 'that's nice' instead of 'who gives a f**k'."